Dillon, you saw that package there. There's real concern in Queensland. It's not just Queensland, though. What do you see as a real problem here, and how do we fix it?
Okay, look, some of the ideas mentioned were good. We don't want kids in jail. And what we really want is for being out of jail to be more attractive to them than being in jail. And for a lot of these kids, being in jail or detention, whatever you want to call it, is very attractive to them. I can remember a few years ago, Bill Leak did that wonderful cartoon where he had, there was Malcolm and Lucy sitting there watching TV, and Malcolm says, these conditions these kids are in are terrible, they should be at home. And Lucy said, they are at home. So making communities attractive for kids to be there, and the way you do that is you have adults working in those communities. So kids should see adults working as being normal. That's the broad brush approach.
I guess my issue with this, I don't think jail's a good place for kids, but if they've committed the crime, or juvenile detention, it won't be jail in many children's instance, but if we want Aboriginal people, if we want young people out of jail, if we want women out of jail, whatever the cohort is, if we don't want them in jail, we don't want them to commit the crime in the first place. And if we have laws that distinguish this person will get incarceration because of their gender or their skin colour and this person won't, that's a really big backward move. How do we get that right?
Yeah, it is a backward move, and it should be treating people as equal as far as possible. And, we've seen for generations the result of, in the Indigenous arena, what happens when you make different excuses, different rules for Indigenous people. So, when it comes to the law, it's the same law. It's the law of the land for all. So treat them all the same. But with the living circumstances, if you've got people, not just Indigenous, but any people that are living in dire conditions with poverty and out of work adults, we need to work on those communities to strengthen them, give them some hope. So again, like I was saying, kids see this as normal. But yet certainly if they break a crime, whether you're Indigenous, non-Indigenous or whatever, it should be the same outcome. But we want to give more support to where support is needed to prevent them from coming into contact with the criminal justice system to begin with.
Yeah, my old boss, Tony Abbott, used to always say, the mum and dad in work, kids at school, and the law of the land to apply in that community, not special treatment, not lesser standards. We've got to expect the same standards right across Australia. And if we think it's right the kids are in school and, that the homes are kept in good order, it's a tyranny. I think it's a tyranny of low expectations was the phrase used in the past, that we put these expectations of a very low bar on some disadvantaged communities, not just Indigenous communities, but disadvantaged communities, and we accept crime and sexual abuse in those communities that we don't accept in our own suburbs. And that's part of the problem. It should be that we're lifting everybody up and not this, differentiated sort of bar, isn't it?
Absolutely. And as you said, Tony got it right. And what I find very interesting is when you listen to some of the Indigenous, or in fact, all the Indigenous leaders today, whether it be in politics or academia or whatever, particularly those that I would disagree with, who like to, talk about the treaty and the Uluru Statement and let's stop Australia Day celebrations, all that sort of thing. Look at why they're doing well, and they should be examples. They've come through, the education system. Few of them have been to, graduated from university. They've had role models around them, adults, uncles and aunties working. So again, they're a testimony to, if you want to be successful in this, call it a westernised world, you need to go to school, you need to see parents working, that needs to be a role model. And crime needs to be frowned upon and appropriate penalties handed out.
Right, talk to me about this chapter you've written for Kevin Donnelly's new book. The book's called Cancel Culture and the Left's Long March. In it, you state that culture wars are more complex than simply Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal, and all those sort of easy dividing lines, I guess some that are uninformed like to make. Tell us about your chapter.
Okay, so this is the book for which you wrote the foreword to, so I'm very happy to be included in that book. Look, it's more the culture wars. It isn't Aboriginal against non-Aboriginal people, because the reality is most Aboriginal people and most non-Aboriginal people get on very well with each other. They're just mates and neighbours and colleagues and family. They get on really well. It's this group of idiots that are trying to divide the country, that are trying to tell Aboriginal people that they are victims of colonisation, that they're lowering the standards, the expectations like you spoke about, and that the white man, the oppressor, is the problem, which is clearly not true. It's not helping anyone. So that's, the culture war we see is when Aboriginal people are told to believe that they're victims of the white man.
I tell you what, people got to read your chapter, Anthony, because you're all about bringing Australia together, unlike the activists who are so vested in tearing us apart. You are a breath of fresh air. Thank you for your time.